Everybody, welcome back with the Plat. Before you say anything, I'm not using my camera to try to censor your waifu's boobs, okay? This is just where I put my camera, all right? So deal with it. Today, we are talking about who you should get from the Battle Pass. Now, first of all, if you have to decide who you should get from the Battle Pass, quit doing that screen. It means you'll have to get the ultimate Battle Pass. It's $10. And you're going to get one copy of one of these. They're weapons, all right? Yeah, they're waifus, they're partners, they're whatever cards from Honkai Star Rail, but basically they're weapons. But we're going to go over each of them really quick, and we're going to decide which one you should get. Now, this video is going out to hundreds of thousands of people, probably in the first few hours alone. So who is best for you is going to depend, because it is going to be personal on your account, right? Like if you just don't have any good hunter characters or whatever, rangers, you might not want one of these things, right? But I am going to go over, I'm going to tell you which ones I think are the strongest, more like generically, and which ones are probably ones that I don't think are as necessary. So we'll just go from left to right, and then I'll give you kind of a ranking of like kind of top to bottom when we get near the end. So first, Priscilla. All right, I moved my camera. You happy? So Priscilla is the one that's for strikers. So you're thinking of like Rin, Haru, Owen, Mei Ling. I forget her name because I haven't really used her yet. But she's competing against like the Bazooka Bear. You probably remember him. And then there's the other one that cares about cards that cost 2 or more. So it is important when you're thinking about these, what are they competing against? If you already have something that's really good on a character, maybe you don't need a small upgrade, whereas another one might not have any good competition. You might be able to get a much bigger upgrade in general. So what does she actually do? Increases HP and damage by 8%. So this is probably better than the bear already. The bear does 8% attack, I believe it is, not damage. So you're getting HP and you're getting damage, and I believe increasing damage is pretty much always better than increasing the stat itself. I'm sure there is a breakpoint, but 8% to 8% is probably going to be in the damage's favor. And plus 25% damage dealt by the assigned combatant who targets people in the break state. You know, when you break their bar, then you're going to be able to do 25% more damage. That is good, but that is situational. It is hard to keep enemies broken. This might be better with like that, with like Mei Ling or whatever. I believe she's really good at like breaking characters, getting ember stacks, and doing more damage. So this feels like it's going to be more for her than it is for like an Owen or a Lin, or even a Haru. And her Arcanet Web, 250% damage. Apply weakness attack to one assigned combatant's random attack card in hand. This is, the combatant is you though. It's whoever has this equipped. So it's going to be one of their cards. If you only have one of their attack cards, it's going to be that one. So overall, 250% damage for 2 energy, and the apply a weakness is good. I think that is a pretty fine ego skill. I'm not blown away with it, but I do regularly use the little sniper guy that does 200% to help me kind of finish off enemies, which cost 2. And this is just that, but better. So this is a very solid choice. However, I'm probably not going to get this on someone like Haru myself or Owen. It's probably going to be very character specific, so keep that in mind. Eishlen here, this one is one that I like, but I'm not super excited for. So this is the Vanguard one. You're thinking Magna, you're thinking Mommy Milkers, and you're thinking the Kelpie chick. She is like she cares about counterattack. So when assigned combatants gain counterattack, plus 15% defense-based damage. So the best Vanguard unit is Kelpie for the most part. And if you have her, I know that's not how you say her name. I don't know how to read that name, but she almost has no way to gain counterattack. Baseline, she doesn't. Her unique cards don't, but you can get an Epiphany that can get you counterattack, and there's always some ways to get counterattack. So I'm not in love with this on the best character. However, if you're using Mommy Milker or you're using Magna, then this is probably the best you can get, especially Magna, because Magna gets counter constantly. Like, Magna is probably the counter character. And the ego skill is pretty good. 100% shield, low. That's bad. But you are getting to retain 50% of your shield. It's good, but it's only actually good in a situation where you draw really, really badly and you have a bunch of shield cards and they're not attacking you, so you want to be able to use that shield next turn, and then you're only getting 50% of it. Or if they're going to attack you twice in a row and you really overshield the first round, and then the second round you still have a little bit of a buffer there. I like it. I think it's cool. I love retaining shields. I don't think this is particularly powerful or needed, although if Magna is like your main character, this is probably going to be the best partner for Magna. Solia is the ranger assistant, so you're thinking Hugo, Beryl, Selena, and I'm forgetting one that someone does, Veronica. They all do Beryl is the one that does the least amount of extra attacks. Like she has to get an epiphany, but my Beryl's build has a lot of extra attacks, but they're basically extra attack people. 20% extra attack damage. I assume this is 20%. It could be a flat. If that's flat, that's probably bad, but I assume it's percent. To the assigned combatant. When the assigned combatant draws for the first time each turn using an ability, plus 10% attack card damage for one turn. So this is probably also 250% damage Mark 1. That's pretty good. It is 3. It's not, I don't know if it's insane, but I do like it. Mark is pretty good, especially on a character that just doesn't have it. It is kind of nice because I believe Mark does do an extra attack. Like when you attack something, you do an extra attack on the marked target for, it's 100%, but if you're going all in on the extra attack synergies, then obviously you're going to get quite a bit more out of it. So this is reasonable. I would still wish it was 2. I would love it at 2. At 3, I'm a little picky about my ego skills in general, but I mean, this is good. I mean, this is probably the best for Hugo. Hugo doesn't draw that many cards, but he does draw cards. You know, he has his haste card that if you're in Commence the Hunt, he'll draw an attack card, and that pretty much always upgrades to drawing something. Veronica has a bunch of ways to generate, to draw cards. Beryl has not as many ways to draw cards, but she has like the best card draw card, which is draw 3. So this is going to work pretty well on all those characters. And it's honestly probably going to be one of the best. I like this, and this is one I'm very much considering getting. Serithea is the hunter one. So you're thinking Luke, you're thinking Lucas, right? I don't know if there's another hunter besides those two. Those are the two that I have. So couple things here. I think this one, in my opinion, is probably the worst and the one that I'm not going to get. One, those characters aren't particularly crazy necessarily, in my opinion, but also there's just a really good 4-star like other option basically. But let's take a look here. Critical chance of the cards increased by 8%. Of course, eventually these can go up higher, right? Like, so this will probably cap out to be stronger, but there is a pretty big opportunity cost of picking one of, like, already saying like, hey, I'm gonna pick up 5 of these things or something, right? So 8% crit chance. Okay, I mean, that's good, especially for these characters that they do really care about critting, and it can be hard to build that, so maybe the 8% is worth it. And then when they actually get a critical hit, they get 3% critical damage up to 5 times, so it goes up to 15% over the course of a fight. So you have to crit 5 times, then you get 15% crit damage, and then her ego skill, 250% damage and 2 vulnerable. I mean, none of it is bad. I honestly kind of like this. I like making crits easier to get. I like being rewarded. It's a little weird that it scales so slow. You have to get 5 crits, which just seems like a lot. I'm sure it goes up actually quite a bit more. Like, this is probably one of those like super late game cards that if you go all in and you get all of them, if you get like, I don't even know if there's a way to check the better versions of it, but if you get up to like 15% crit chance and you get up to 30% crit damage after critting 5 times, this becomes like really good. But up until then, I don't know. I mean, they have a really, really good card. I mean, I don't use it that much, but if we go to Luke or Lucas here and we take a look at the partner, we got this guy here, right? The damage of your bullet cards increased by 13%. They're pretty much always using bullets. And then when you land your first critical hit, your bullet card damage increases by 15% for 1 turn. So that's pretty cool. But on top of that, you also just have for 2 ego skill points, you get 25% crit chance for the rest of the turn. So I feel like that's just really good. I like that a lot. It feels very powerful to me. And so I just don't feel like her Serithea or whatever is actually enough of an upgrade to justify getting it this early. Anteia here is probably my favorite that I am not even considering getting. for two main reasons. One, she is a psionic, which is specifically Tressa and Kayron or whatever. So there's only two characters that could even use this and get the additional effect. And honestly, like the nurse lady is pretty good. It's like when you first generate a card, or sorry, it's when you first like exhaust a card or get a status card, which I believe the Void is a status card. Then you get an attack boost, and then your attack cards also get a boost. It's like, it's pretty good in general. However, I do really like these scholarly measures, right? 180% damage to all enemies. That's good. One vulnerable to all enemies. This is great. I actually love this. If they add a few more psionic characters, this is one I'll definitely consider. But what does it actually do? Sorry. The assigned combatant's HP and damage are increased 8% when the assigned combatant generates a card, plus 8% card damage for one turn. The only issue, like the second reason I don't think I'm getting this one I'm not getting this one is it doesn't say that this stacks. I assume that it does, but until I know, because some things will say stacks up to 5 times, or this skill stacks. This doesn't say anything like that. So if this is capped at 8%, that is bad. If it doesn't stack, or sorry, if it does stack though, and you get this up to 40% for like, you know, every time you throw a dagger, it gets 8% stronger, then the next one's 8% stronger, 8% stronger. You're just throwing shit like crazy. This actually could be crazy, but until I actually know 100%, it's not one I'm willing to put in the effort for. I'm not willing to, it's just too much of an opportunity cost, especially because I'd rather have something with just more of a broad application, I think, than I don't even have half of the psionic characters, right? I have Tressa, I don't have the dude, so that's all on that one. Now, finally, we get to Nyx, the controller partner. So you're thinking Mika, Cassius, Rin, Nia, you know, that might be all of them, but like these characters that draw cards, support characters in other ways, maybe have a little bit of a healing element to them. So those are the kind of characters. What does it actually do? The assigned combatant's HP and healing are increased by 8%. Awesome. I appreciate that. That character wants that. When the assigned combatant draws for the first time each turn using an ability, plus 8% damage dealt by allies for one turn. And then Irinat Hurricane, I don't know how to say that. Discard up to 3 cards, then draw +1 cards equal to the number discarded. I don't know why they word it like that. You discard up to 3. If you discard, you know, X cards, you draw X plus 1. So you discard 1, you draw 2. You discard 0, you draw 1. You discard 3, you draw 4. So this is definitely my favorite. So one, I mean, they have a pretty good partner. They have the partner that it's like when you're being targeted, at the start of the turn, for every enemy's attack intention, you get like a 13% damage reduction, which is good. But this is just like, this is like a really good panic button to have. For 4 ego points, I mean, 4 is expensive, but you could potentially get a whole new hand. You draw 5 cards a turn, right? I think it's 5 now that I'm thinking about it. I'm pretty sure it's 5. This can give you up to 4, assuming you have no synergy. This can give you up to 4 new cards. So if you are absolutely getting destroyed and you decide you want to try to kill the boss and you drew all shield cards, but they're going to kill you anyway, you could, you know, try to recycle that. You could use it to do the opposite. If you got all your attack cards, but you're getting hit really hard and you're not going to be able to kill them, you can instead try to get a bunch of defensive cards. So this card is flexible. When it's a card that's like gives you healing and gives you fortitude or whatever, it only serves one of those purposes. This serves like both. You could use this in a way to get offensive or defensive. Also, it does self-trigger. Most of these characters have a way to draw cards. Some are better than others. Mika's not the best at it, for example, but she can get ways to draw cards. Giving your other allies damage is just so nice. It only activates one time. This one's very specific. When you draw for the first time each turn, you get 8% damage to your allies. But I mean, this is giving you HP, it's giving you healing, and it's giving you damage. I don't know if it affects themselves. That part doesn't really matter too much. Most of these characters are dealing very little damage. That's not what their role is. But this one, it's badass, bro. Actually, we can click here, can't we? Okay, never mind. This one is super badass. I'll admit the ego skill is expensive, but I'm telling you, card draw is so nice, and to always have this on the left side of the screen. I mean, maybe you don't have it as one of the 3 options initially, but I'm telling you, this is gonna save your life sometime. So top to bottom, here's what I think is the best based off my experience with the game. Number 1, Nyx. Number 2, Priscilla. Number 3, Solia. Number 4 and 5 are kind of tied for these two. I think they're both pretty reasonable, but they don't have that many characters they're going to. I'd probably put U4, U5, and then I'm gonna put the Vanguard one actually at the bottom. I just didn't feel like this, unless you're specifically using Magna all the time, and you're gonna use Magna to deal damage, then this could be pretty good in general. But yeah, that is overall. Of course, it's gonna depend on you. But that is all for today. Let me know, who do you think you're picking up? And yeah, why is it Nyx? I'm kind of curious. Why are you picking Nyx just like I am? Anyway, that's all. Much love. Per platypus is per platypus. I'll see you on the flip-flops. Bye.